So I've been thinking a bit about what I would say to my boy if I only could say something now. And basically what I would say is, I guess I've opined a bit already about how kings and princes still exist, or they will, to a greater degree than they even do now. They never really went away. We can talk about the conservation of sovereignty or the iron law of oligarchy, but the simple fact is that there's always somebody in charge. And in the era post the assassination of executives, it's simply too easy to kill the head honcho. So the only way, the smartest play, is stealth, so that nobody knows exactly how to decapitate the serpent. Maybe that'll continue. And in that regard, then, I suggest you become your own shadow king. But to me, there would be something better in the honesty of having a real king. And so, there is I would prefer that you be extraordinary. I would like to try and create that world for you, the one where you have access to all of these things, these fast tracks, these real advantages. Now, I know that failing my being able to do that, I'm certain that you'll turn out fine. But I want you to be more than that. And it's not really pressure. I think that would be easy for you to be more than that if only you were given a proper understanding, which I don't think will be supplied to you by anyone in your life, save for myself. Even my own father doesn't understand. The simple fact of this nation is that the crown is in the gutter. And if you would only pick it up, it can be yours. Now, easier said than done, but it's quite clear now that there is no man of integrity at the top. We can't seem to find one to begin with. Now, I think that it could be you. It could be me. Maybe, if I can remain pure and true, should the situation arise. And I would not shrug off that opportunity if it had presented itself, because somebody has to do it, and I would prefer to save my children the toil. And I fear that the longer it takes for some man with an iron will to right this ship, the harder it's going to be. And maybe it's already lost. Maybe the only thing we can hope for is some kind of enclave to be carved out of the husk of this country. But I'll be damned if I don't try to save the whole thing. I don't at least make that effort. Maybe the opportunity will arise. It will present itself, and the pragmatic calculus will be that it can only be saved in part and not in whole. And we'll just have to make that decision when we're presented with it, if we ever are. But don't let anybody tell you that kings and princes and aristocrats are a thing of the past. By and large, they are, but not because they can't exist, but because the powers that be, the management of the world at large, this world order, does everything in its power to reduce everyone to the lowest common denominator, so that there's nobody who's obviously better than anybody else. There's nothing to aspire to outside of your position as an economic unit. There's no romance in life. There's nothing qualitatively better about any of it. And I hope that you can reject that. I hope that you will strive to live a qualitatively better life. Silly video game quotes sometimes worm their way into my thought process, and I believe there's a Fallout quote from Mr. House where he mentions that to the courier, you and I were special. We don't have to dream about being important. We are important. Now, I could cope and say, oh, well, we're all important in our own narratives, or something to that effect. But I want you, my son, to remember always that you should never, ever let anybody convince you that being important is silly. Now, I know you might say, oh, well, who in the world would ever make that assertion that it's silly to be important? These are the same people that will poo-poo any show of higher intelligence or capability. Look at that guy. He thinks he's so smart. Look at that guy. He thinks he's the shit. He thinks he's all that. Do not let anyone convince you not to call a spade a spade. Tell the truth, seek the truth, present the truth. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to present it in a way that hurts feelings, I think it is important to be able to package things in a way that is not painful when delivering the truth, but don't become a liar or a brown noser. The crown of this nation is in the gutter, and nobody has the balls to pick it up. I like to think that maybe I do have the balls. I feel like I don't have the means or the opportunity, but I'm working on it, and maybe I will. And like I said, if the opportunity presents itself for me to right this ship, I will take it without hesitation to spare anybody else the trouble. Hopefully, I can deliver that message to my sons in person in the future. However, failing that, I hope the message finds them well. Good night.